Hello, dear children. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jisha Joe. In this session, we shall discuss some important questions from the chapter Sense Organs. First, let us have a look at some of the important definitions that you can expect from this chapter. Receptors, specialized group of cells or tissue which are sensitive to a specific stimulus. Accommodation, the process of focusing the eye to see objects at different distances clearly. Dark adaptation, the improvement of vision when we pass from a brightly lighted area to a dark room. Light adaptation, the improvement of vision when we pass from a dark room to a brightly lighted area. Myopia, the condition in which near objects can be seen clearly while distant objects appear blurred. Hyperopia, the condition in which distant objects can be seen clearly while there is difficulty in viewing near objects. Astigmatism, defect of the eye in which some parts of the object are seen in focus while others are blurred. Presbyopia, condition affecting older people who cannot see near objects clearly. That is, it is far-sightedness in middle-aged or old people. Now, moving on to the explanation type questions. Accommodation. So, when definitions are asked, you are supposed to write in one sentence. Okay. When explanations are asked or write short notes, you have to explain the term in two, three sentences. Okay, so what is accommodation? So you can write the definition for accommodation. That is the process of focusing the eye to see objects at different distances clearly, and then you have to discuss about how the accommodation takes place for distant vision and near vision. So we have studied that for distant vision the lens becomes more flattened or thinner, and what during this time what happens to the ciliary muscles and the suspensory ligaments. Okay, that means for distant objects the ciliary muscles get relaxed and the suspensory ligament tightens up and the lens are pulled thin. Whereas for near vision, the lens becomes more convex. This happens by the contraction of the ciliary muscles and the relaxation of the suspensory ligaments. So that you have to explain when explanation or write short notes on accommodation is asked. Dark adaptation. So what is dark adaptation? You can give the definition of dark adaptation, and then what are the changes that are taking place in the eye during this dark adaptation, that is the regeneration of rhodopsin pigment and the dilation of the pupil. So I think 2 points, it is written as 2 points in the text, so you have to explain that and write. Light adaptation also in a similar way you have to write. First, in one sentence you can write what is light adaptation, and then you have to write this adaptation occurs due to the following changes. Number one is the rhodopsin pigment gets bleached, and the second one is the pupil constricts so that less amount of light enters into the eye. Okay, now astigmatism. So what is astigmatism and how can it be corrected? What is the cause? That is, it is caused due to uneven curvature of the cornea, and it can be corrected using cylindrical lens. That also should be mentioned along with that single single line which we have written for definition on astigmatism. Now presbyopia also the same thing. How is it caused? Also you have to write. It is due to the loss of flexibility of the lens, resulting in farsightedness in middle-aged or old people. And how can it be corrected? It can be corrected by using convex lens. Cataract, again the same thing, condition, explain it. That is what is, it is not to be written in one sentence, it has to be explained in 2 or 3 or 4 sentences. Okay, even if it is a 1-mark question, you have to explain it. So what is the condition? It is a condition in which the lens becomes opaque, ultimately resulting in complete blindness. And how can it be corrected? It can be corrected by surgically removing the lens, and also by using spectacles with highly convex lenses, or by the method of implantation, also implanting the lens. A new lens is implanted, and that can also be done. A plastic lens can be implanted behind or in front of the iris. In such a way also it can be corrected or rectified. Color blindness, that is caused, that is a condition in which people are unable to discriminate between certain colors like red, green, etc. And it is, we have studied, it is a genetic defect. It is an X-linked inheritance. And it is because it is an X-linked inheritance, it is the males that suffer more from this defect. Then night blindness, condition in which a person feels difficulty in seeing things in dim light or at night. And this is due to the non-formation of visual purple or the rhodopsin pigment. And how can it be rectified? That is, this is due to the deficiency of vitamin A. So we are supposed to eat a lot of vitamin A rich foods. Then squint eye, in which the 2 eyes become somewhat converges, leading to cross eye, or diverges out, leading to wide eye. And certain exercises and suitable surgery are there to correct the defect. Stereoscopic vision, that is both eyes, the 2 eyes that are located in front of our face, both the eyes see the object, and separate images are formed from both eyes, which combine into one image in the brain, giving a 3-dimensional effect to the object, or the image of the object that we are seeing. This is called as stereoscopic vision. After image is it is a visual illusion, and it is the persistence of the image even after the object is removed from our vision. The persistence of the image of an object even after the object has been removed from our vision, that is called as after image. The image continued to persist in our eyes even after the removal of the object from our vision, that is after image. And it is used for, or it is the basic principle behind motion pictures. Okay. Then membranous labyrinth. Membranous labyrinth refers to our inner ear, which comprises of 2 parts, the cochlea and the semicircular canal. You can discuss about, write 1 sentence on cochlea. It is spiral shaped and looks like snail shell, makes 2.5 turns. And also you can write about the semicircular canals. There is a set of 3 semicircular canals which are placed at right angles to each other, and one end of each semicircular canal is enlarged to form, or widened to form, the ampulla. Okay, so that is about membranous labyrinth. Then moving on to the differentiation type questions, scleroid and choroid. Okay, scleroid is the outermost layer of the eyeball, outermost layer. So sometimes for differentiation, as I have mentioned earlier, they might give in brackets certain things on the basis of which you have to differentiate the given words. So study the difference as you study the text. Please see that you study the differences. So one such difference is sclera is the outermost layer, whereas choroid is the middle layer of the eyeball. Sclera is formed of tough fibrous tissue, whereas the choroid layer is richly supplied with blood vessels. Okay, as you study, try to study the difference and go. Mostly in such cases, certain things or something can be mentioned in the bracket so as to differentiate based on what is given in the bracket. Rods and cones. So maybe for example, one example I told you, as I told you before, for if the question is to differentiate between rods and cones, in brackets it can be given distribution. What is the distribution of rods and cones inside the eye? So we know rods are distributed mostly throughout the entire retina, whereas cones are distributed mostly at the yellow spot, or sometimes the pigment. Based on the pigment present, you are asked to differentiate. So you have to say that rods have the pigment rhodopsin, cones contain the pigment iodopsin. Or in another type in the bracket, it can be given sensitivity to light. So rods are sensitive to dim light, cones are sensitive to bright light. So in such a way questions can be asked. Iodopsin and rhodopsin. Okay, already we have explained it in the previous question. Yellow spot and blind spot. Yellow spot is the area of best vision, blind spot is the area of no vision. Yellow spot has the maximum number of cones present, blind spot do not have any sensory cells present there. Okay, it is the region where the nerves arising from the sensory cells, the nerve fibers from the sensory cells present on the retina converge and come out of the eye as the optic nerve. Aqueous chamber and vitreous chamber. So where is it located? So based on location you can write. So mostly in such cases you will be given on the basis of what the terms should be differentiated. So study that. You can differentiate it based on location or based on the functions. So aqueous humor and vitreous humor. Okay, so that is that will be based on the function which the two fluid performs. Myopia and hyperopia. Okay, myopia sometimes in brackets it can be written the lens used for the rectification of the defect. So in myopia, which is the lens that is used in myopia, we use the concave lens, whereas in hyperopia we use the convex lens. Or you can be asked to differentiate based on the definition. Okay, light adaptation and dark adaptation, we have already discussed in definition as well as in explanation. We have discussed the two. Hyperopia and presbyopia. Okay, hyperopia is farsightedness, another term for farsightedness or hypermetropia. Presbyopia is farsightedness occurring in middle-aged or in old age people. Okay, when the lens loses its flexibility. Okay, whereas hyperopia is caused due to, what is the cause of hyperopia? The lens becoming less convex. The lens becoming less convex is the cause of hyperopia, or the lens becoming too flat, isn't it? The other case, in presbyopia, the lens is losing its flexibility. Then dynamic balance and static balance. Dynamic balance is the balance of the body when the body is in motion, whereas static balance is the balance of the body when the body is at rest. Okay, And what are the regions or the parts of the ear that are involved in dynamic balancing and static balancing? We know dynamic equilibrium or dynamic balancing is brought about by the sensory cells that are present in the ampulla of the semicircular canal, whereas static balance is brought about by the sensory cells present in the vestibule, which consists of the utriculus and sacculus. Please go through the classes which I have taken, which I have uploaded, then you will understand more about it. Okay. Then sclera and cornea. So sclera, we know it is the outermost layer of the eyeball, wall layer of the eyeball, and it is white in color, whereas cornea is the sclera bulging out and becoming transparent in the front region, which front of the eye covering the iris, that is the cornea. So cornea is transparent, whereas sclera is white in color. Okay, cornea is also a part of the sclera. When sclera becomes transparent and bulges out, then it is called as the cornea. Now moving on to the next type of question, that is location and role. Lacrimal glands or tear glands. Mostly the term lacrimal glands can be used for the exam because it is a little confusing. When you hear the term or when you see the term tear glands, most of us will be able to write, but if you don't study or if you are not familiar with the term lacrimal gland, then it will be difficult for you to answer. So location and role. Location, it is located on the upper sideward portion of the orbit of eye, that is the location. Role, there are different the functions of the tear gland. The function of the tear gland is to secrete tears. Okay, function of the lacrimal gland is to secrete tear. Don't write the functions of tear for this. I hope it is clear. Don't write the role or the functions of the 4 functions are there for tears. Please don't write the functions of tears for the functions of lacrimal glands. The function of the lacrimal gland is to secrete tears. Lysozyme. What is lysozyme? Location, it is present in the tears. It is an enzyme present in the tears, and function, it has an antiseptic property and kills the germs. Lysozyme. Next is conjunctiva. Conjunctiva, location, it is a thin membrane covering the front part of the eye. Okay, function, if function is asked, what will you write? It is a protective layer. Sclera, location, outermost layer, wall layer of the eyeball is the sclera. Function again is the protection of the eye. Choroid. Choroid is the middle layer of the middle wall layer of the eyeball, and function, what is the function? The choroid is richly supplied with blood vessels. It provides nourishment for the eye, and also it has the black dark colored pigment called melanin, which helps in reflecting, which prevents the reflecting of light rays within the eye. Okay. Melanin. Melanin is, where is it present? It is the dark colored pigment that is present in the choroid layer. That is the location. Function, again we have discussed what is the function of melanin. It prevents the light rays from reflecting and scattering inside the eye. Ciliary body. Where is it present? The choroid expands to form the ciliary body in front of the eye. Okay, and what is the function of the ciliary body? It helps in altering the shape of the lens. The shape of the lens is altered by the muscles of the ciliary body. Iris. What is iris? Again, it is the extension of the choroid in front of the eye, partially covering the lens, leaving a small opening which is called as the pupil. And what is the function of the iris? It is the iris that regulates or adjusts the size of the pupil to regulate the amount of light that enters into the eye. So iris regulates, iris have radial and circular muscles which help in adjusting the size of the pupil to regulate the amount of light entering into the eye. Now pupil, what is pupil? The small opening, circular opening at the center of the eye, which is formed by the iris. Okay, and what is the function of pupil? It allows the light to enter into the eye. That is the role of pupil. Retina, it is the innermost layer of the eyeball, you can write. And what is the function? It is this layer that is sensitive to light. Okay, retina is the layer of the eye which is sensitive to light, both bright light as well as dim light. Also you can write it contains the sensory cells. Rods and cones are present on the retina. Rods. So what are rods? Where is it located? You can write the location. It is distributed mostly throughout the retina. And what is the role? It is rod cells are sensitive to dim light. Now we are able to see in dim light because of the presence of rods. Cones, again location, it is mostly confined to the yellow spot. And what is the function? It is sensitive to bright light, or color vision is possible due to the cones that are present in our eyes. Rhodopsin or visual purple, location, what will you write? They are contained in the rods that are present in the retina of the eye. And function, helps us to see in dim light. That is the function of rhodopsin. Iodopsin, it is the pigment present in cones. And what is the function? Helps to see in bright light, or color vision is possible due to the iodopsin pigment. Macula lutea of fovea centralis. So that is another term for the yellow spot. So mostly these terms might be used because these are little confusing. If you are not thorough with the topic, it will be confusing. So these might be the terms that might be asked for the exam. So macula lutea or fovea centralis refers to the yellow spot. And what is the location? Where is it located? Where is the yellow spot located? It is located at the back of the eye, almost at the center on the horizontal axis of the eyeball. So when you draw the eye also, if a diagram for drawing the eye comes, see that you draw the yellow spot exactly opposite to the lens, because that is the area of best vision. Okay, the light rays should converge and fall on the yellow spot for best vision. Okay, and what is the function of fovea centralis? It is the area of best vision. It is the region where maximum number of cones are present. It is the region or the area of best vision, or it is the area of color vision. Blind spot, where is it located? It is located lateral to the yellow spot on the nasal side. Okay, and what is the role? It is in this region where the nerve fibers arising from all the sensory cells on the retina converge and come out of the eye as the optic nerve. Aqueous chamber. What is the location? So it is a chamber that is present between the lens and the cornea. And function, it contains the clear watery fluid called aqueous humor. That is the function. Okay, next is aqueous humor. So if the function of aqueous chamber is asked, don't write the functions of aqueous humor. Okay, what is the location of aqueous humor? Where is it located? Located in the aqueous chamber, which is present in between the lens and the cornea. That is how you have to write. If you just write if it is located in the aqueous chamber, the answer will not be complete. Okay, otherwise you can write it is located in the chamber that is present between the lens and the cornea. The correct answer is you have to mention the location of that chamber. Then only it will be correct. Okay, complete answer. Then the functions, there are two functions for aqueous humor. Keeps the lens moist, protecting it from shock, and also it refracts light. Similarly, vitreous chamber, it is a chamber present behind the lens. And what is the function? It contains a transparent jelly-like thick fluid which is called as the aqueous humor. Now, Location and function of aqueous humor. Aqueous humor is a transparent jelly-like thick fluid present in the vitreous chamber, which is a cavity behind the lens. Okay, and function, the two functions that are present in the text, that is to keep the shape of the lens, helps in keeping the shape of the eyeball, and second function is to protect the retina and the nerve endings. Pinna. What is pinna? Pinna is the ear lobe which is present in the outer ear. Okay, pinna is present in the outer ear, and the function of the pinna is to collect the sound waves and pass it on to the auditory canal or the ear canal. Tympanum. What is tympanum? Tympanum, again, it is a membranous, it is a membrane that is present at the start or at the end of the outer ear. Where the outer ear ends, there is a membrane, there is a cavity, there is an opening which is guarded by a membrane that is called as the tympanum or the eardrum. What is the function of tympanum? Tympanum function is to connect the outer ear with the middle ear. It is through the tympanum the sound waves are passed on from the outer ear to the middle ear. So the tympanum, when as the sound waves hit the tympanum or the eardrum, they finally start to vibrate. This vibration is in turn passed on to the ear ossicles, the three bones that are present in the middle ear. Organ of Corti. What is the location? Location, organ of Corti is sensory cells that are present in the basilar membrane of the median canal of the inner membrane, inner ear. That is what you have to write. Okay, where is it present? It is organ of Corti consists of sensory cells that are present on the basilar membrane of the median canal of the cochlea of inner ear. Okay, that is the correct way to write the location. Once again, I'll tell, it is located on the basilar membrane of the median canal of the cochlea of inner ear. And what is the role? It helps the sensory cells present in the organ of Corti helps us in hearing. Ampulla. What is ampulla? It is the expanded portion of the semicircular canal. The semicircular canal is expanded or widened at one end. This expanded region is called as the ampulla, and what is the function? It contains sensory cells for dynamic balancing. Semicircular canal. Where is it located? It is located in the inner ear, and what is the function? It helps in balancing of the body. The sensory cells that are present in the semicircular canal helps in body balancing. You need not specify which type of balancing, because specifically if we mention it, otherwise you have to write both dynamic balancing as well as static balancing, or you just simply write it is the location, it is the part, or it is one of the parts of the inner ear, and function or the role of the semicircular canal is to help in balancing of the body. That is enough. Then vestibule, where is it located? It is a region present, it is a stem-like region joining the bases of the semicircular canal with the cochlea, and the function, it contains sensory cells for static balancing. Okay, there you have to mention specifically, don't just write it helps in balancing, that would be wrong. You have to write it helps in static balancing. If ampulla is asked, you have to write it helps in dynamic balancing. But in general, if semicircular canal is asked, you just write it helps in balancing of the body. Okay, I hope that is clear. Then utriculus and sacculus, we know they are the parts of the vestibule. So again, the same location, what you have written, or what I have said for vestibule, that is a short stem joining the base of the semicircular canal with the cochlea. That is the location, and function, it helps in static balancing. Cochlea. Cochlea, it is present, where is the location? It is present in the inner ear, or it is present in the membranous labyrinth. Function, what is the function? It contains sensory cells for hearing. Eustachian tube, where is it located? It is located in the middle ear. That is what you have to write. It is located in the middle ear. And what is the function of the eustachian tube? Also you can write, for location you can write, it connects the middle ear with the throat. Okay, it is located in the middle ear, connecting the middle ear with the throat. That is the location. And role, what is the role of eustachian tube? It equalizes the air pressure on either side of the tympanum, allowing the tympanum to vibrate freely when the sound waves fall on the tympanum. Auditory nerve, what is the function? Where is it located, auditory nerve? It arises from the cochlea and the semicircular canals of the ear. And what is the function? It carries the nerve impulses of hearing to the brain. Okay, the impulses from the ear are carried to the brain through the auditory nerve. Similarly, optic nerve, again located in the eye. Function is to carry the nerve impulses from the retina of the eye to the brain. Ear ossicles. Ear ossicles is the term that is collectively used for the three bones, that is the malleus, incus and stapes of the middle ear. And the function of the ear ossicles, you can write the ear ossicles help to amplify or magnify the vibration of the vibration that or the sound waves that has fallen on the tympanum, causes the tympanum to vibrate, isn't it? And as the tympanum vibrates, this vibration is passed on to the first to the hammer, then to the anvil, and then to the stirrup. So as the vibrations are passed through the bones of the ear ossicles, magnification of the vibration takes place due to the lever-like action of the the bones of the ear ossicles. So the vibrations are magnified due to the ear ossicles. Okay. Now moving on to give reason type questions. First one, we move our eyes from word to word as we read a line in a page. What is the reason? Because it is the area of best vision is the yellow spot. So the light waves have to fall on the yellow spot, isn't it? So that is the reason why we move our eyes from word to word as we read a line in a page. Yellow spot is the area of best vision because the maximum number of cones are present at the yellow spot. Blind spot is the area of no vision because no sensory cells are present in the blind spot. One feels blinded for a short time while coming out of a dark room. So coming out of a dark room means it is light adaptation, isn't it? From a dark room to a lighted area. So that is light adaptation. So what are the changes that are taking place? Oh, you have to write here. Okay. Throat infections can lead to ear infections. Yes, that is true because there is a connection between the ear and the throat. Do you remember the connection? That is the eustachian tube. The eustachian tube connects the ear with the throat. So, throat infections can lead to ear infections. We cannot distinguish colors in moonlight. The reason why? During moonlight, which are the sensory cells that are active? There, the rods are active. Rods are not sensitive to colors, not sensitive to light. That is the reason why we cannot distinguish the colors in moonlight. Okay. On entering a poorly lit room, one feels blinded for a short while. That means on entering a poorly lit room means we are moving from a lighted area to a dark room. That means that is dark adaptation. So you have to write the changes in the eye that are taking place during dark adaptation. So first you have to mention that it is due to dark adaptation and what are the changes that are taking place there. Next, one should not put sharp objects into the ear. What is the reason? When we put sharp objects into the ear, this might damage the eardrum or the tympanum, that is the membrane that is present there, which connects the outer ear with the middle ear. So the first step in hearing is that the sound waves should fall on the tympanum and the tympanum or the eardrum starts to vibrate. So if there is a damage that is caused to the tympanum, then it might hinder our hearing process. So that is why we should not put sharp objects. That is the reason why we say that we should not put sharp objects into the ear. Next one. If one looks at a bright object and closes his eyes, the image of the object continue to persist in his eyes. This is due to persistence image or after image. We cannot differentiate the color of flowers in a garden in a moonlit night. So the answer here is during a dim or in dim light or on a moonlit night, it is the rods, the sensory cells, the rods that are active. So that is the reason for differentiation of colors. The cones should be active, isn't it? So that is why we are not able to distinguish the different colors of the flowers in our garden on a moonlit night. Now moving on to the last type of questions, that is the structured type. Structure of eye. Draw and study the diagram. So if it is in case asked as a diagram based question also, you will be able to answer it. Draw and study the diagram of the eye. Okay, if the diagram is clear to you, you will be able to answer any question related to the eye. So all of you should draw and study the structure of eye. Okay, draw and label the parts also. Myopia and hyperopia, I told you while taking the video on myopia and hyperopia, I told you what is the type of question that you can expect from that. It is normally asked as a diagram based question. Okay. Structure of the ear also draw and study. So in case if it is asked as a diagram based question, mostly the structure of ear is asked as a diagram based question, but if you draw and study, it will be easier to understand the structure, the different parts of the ear as well as the functions. You will remember the functions of the different parts also if you draw and study. Okay. So normally it is asked as a diagram based question. The structure of the diagram will be given. You will be asked to label the different parts and certain questions based on the diagram can be asked. Membranous labyrinth. That is normally asked as a diagram. It can also be asked as a diagram based question, but membranous labyrinth can also be asked as a diagram. So what will you draw? If draw a neat labeled diagram of membranous labyrinth is asked for the exam, you will have to draw the inner ear. Inner ear, we know it comprises of the cochlea and the semicircular canal. So draw neatly the cochlea and the semicircular canal. You can label the semicircular canal, the ampulla, the vestibule, that is the utriculus, sacculus, the cochlea. All these can be labeled. In addition, you can also label, mark the oval window and the round window there on the cochlea, which connects the middle ear with the inner ear. Then the picture, the diagram will be complete. Okay, so membranous labyrinth, they won't ask us to draw a well-labeled diagram of the inner ear. That is not the question. To make a little bit confusing, it will be asked to draw the diagram of membranous labyrinth. So remember, it is the inner ear. So children, with this we come to the end of the question discussion on the chapter sense organs. Hope what we have studied in this session is clear to you. If you have any doubts or suggestions, please ask your doubts and give your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.